and welcome to my channel. My name is Martine, and if you are new here, I do videos on Vedic astrology mainly, but also with some tropical insights, and I focus on both relationship and natal astrology. And if you like this video and you would like to hear more content from me, please like, subscribe, hit the notifications bell to see when I will post a new video. And also, if you're interested in a personal consultation, I do consultations on a wide variety of topics. Please check out the video description. I will leave my contact information there. Thank you. So, thank you once again to everyone who has subscribed. And please continue to watch the ads if you want to support my channel for free. Okay, just a friendly reminder. And okay, to continue with today's video, it is going to be in continuation with the Descendant through sign series, or 7th house through sign series, as it is otherwise known. And today's going to be on Descendant in Aquarius. So as an introduction, once again, I'm going to be focusing on the general characteristics of your partner, your long-term romantic partners, based on this Descendant placement, the general personality, what they will need in a relationship to be happy, ways that you can keep them happy, also potential gifts that you might want to give them. Also, the potential careers that this person could have based on your Descendant sign, so your future spouse or your future long-term partner. Also, the potential interests they could have, and of course, last but not least, some physical characteristics. And before I go further, once again, as a disclaimer, this is going to be a generalized description. In order for you to get a better, more accurate description of your partner archetype, I do suggest that you watch all my other videos that I have in the partner archetype in the natal chart playlist. And also, you might also want to consider getting a personalized reading. I do readings on these topics as well. Okay, so to get straight into the characterization of your spouse based on your Descendant. So the spouse is going to be, or the long-term partner, they're going to be intelligent, unusual, unorthodox, very independent, friendly, but also aloof. So they can come across as emotionally detached. They will also tend to be scientific. No matter what line of work they are in, they will tend to be rational, and they will like to embrace the scientific approach. They will tend to focus a lot on their responsibility towards their lives. They will not tend to base too much of their decisions on emotional issues, for instance, or on faith, like religion. Okay, so these people will tend to be very independent, and they really think that their lives are in their hands, and it's up to them to make things happen. These are typical characteristics for Aquarius personality. The person in question, whether it's a he or she, or anything in between, will tend to be rational, unpredictable, and also, like I mentioned, very, very independent. When it comes to the line of work that you could find this person in, typically they will work for large corporations, large organizations. They will be particularly drawn to fields like IT, anything involving electricity, science, especially things that are based on electricity, and media. Okay, they could be basically working in any of the modern professions nowadays. So they will be very, active on the internet. They could even have a YouTube channel, or they could be working as TV presenters or radio presenters. That's also a typical profession that they could be in. But also just if they're not in technology or using the media on a daily basis in their professions, you'll tend to find them in any STEM field, basically. Even things to do with space travel or air travel, okay? They will also tend to be humanitarian in approach. They will oftentimes think about large groups of people and what large groups of people need in order to thrive. So they will look for ways to make themselves of service to higher causes, for instance, especially humanitarian causes. And despite this, however, so, Aquarius is one of the most, if not the most, unusual and, how should I put it, contradicting signs of the zodiac, because on the one hand they are fiercely independent, probably the most independent sign, especially in the Purva Bhadrapada segment. So if you have planets in Purva Bhadrapada in the 7th house, chances are the partner is going to be extremely independent. So they will want to just do their own thing. But on the other hand, they're also deeply humanitarian, and they will be concerned with, for instance, the future of mankind and, what the impact of humanity on nature and all of these larger topics, okay? And they will look for ways to be of service one way or another, or even work in fields where they can help directly. So, all these things that you see about, renewable energy, etc., state-of-the-art techniques to create a circular economy, you can expect to find Aquarians in these lines of work. Okay, in terms of what they need to be happy in a relationship, so because they are very independent, this is probably the sign that more than any other sign needs their freedom to pursue their interests, and they also need a very tolerant and patient partner who can accept them for all their quirks and their strange personality. Take into account that these people also are very unpredictable, so for instance, they'll be like having a random conversation and all of a sudden they will just stop and leave a date or a party because they suddenly got an inspiration and they need to pursue that idea or some obsession that they are getting. So this is the kind of behavior that you can expect with Aquarius. They're going to be always very cerebral and very passionate about certain ideas, and they need someone who can basically make space for them in the relationship, okay? Other things that they will love in general, of course, include sci-fi, so science fiction, movies, novels. Take them to a sci-fi movie, or a game. Again, get them a gaming set, especially if you know that they're interested in these things. That's the thing. You pretty much have to figure out what they like, what their obsessions are. And as long as you can figure out what their interests are, you will keep them happy. Just give them gifts that are in alignment with whatever they spend most time thinking and talking about, okay? So if you see them that they're, obsessed with gaming, and there's a certain game that they want, of course, you could surprise them by getting them that. But you can expect these people to care a lot about things like, sci-fi, anything sci-fi, games, movies, books. They will also love things to do with astronomy, so getting them a telescope, something like that. On the more spiritual side, also remember that in Vedic astrology, this is actually the most spiritual sign of the zodiac. So you can also find them interested in things like meditation, things like psychology, reaching higher consciousness, for instance, things like these are things that they're going to be interested in. So perhaps get them books on these topics, like the Silva method. That's something that an Aquarius would like, even though that's not about higher consciousness, but it's about the power of the brain, and it's about, programming your subconscious. Also just anything to do with spirituality, not so much religion, but, spirituality, especially anything that falls under the New Age category, astrology, tarot, you name it, anything like that, esoteric lines of knowledge. And also they might be interested in, the newest gadgets and newest advances of science. So they will be psyched about state-of-the-art gadgets and, things like, for instance, things that go in line with Internet of Things, or things like that. Anything that is kind of state of the art, new gadgets that are supposed to make your life better, like, I don't know, one of those, like, what do you call them, a Roomba or whatever, like those, like, Hoovers that are, cleaning the house by themselves. Stuff like that will really interest an Aquarius person. Okay. Another thing is you might find that they're going to be interested in fish tanks and all kinds of artificial bodies of water, contained water especially. So things like aquascaping, they will love that. Ponds, if you have a garden or something, that's something they might be into, creating a little, fountain in the garden, and traveling, especially by lakes, or, traveling by lakes especially. But Aquarius in itself is not, funny enough, it's not the most, it's not the kind of sign that you would most frequently associate with travel, because it is a fixed sign, so it doesn't really like to move settings a lot, especially since Aquarius usually has a number of hobbies that they create intricate settings for in their home, so they don't want to uproot the entire underground laboratory that they have created and move it to the vacation house. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's not like traveling in general is something that will be particularly crazy about, unless it's like they're planning to move completely to a place and set up house there. But generally, they will enjoy the occasional trip by a body of water, especially contained, still bodies of water. So, and of course, in any home, you might find that they will like fish tanks. They will be interested in, aquascaping stuff. So you can get them, like, I don't know, a coral aquarium, which, if you know that they're into it, because it's really hard to keep. But these are some examples of potential things that they might be interested in, and would be happy to receive as gifts. When it comes to the physical appearance, they will tend to be tall and lean, just like Capricorn, but with a touch of something unusual about their appearance, whether it's genetic or whether it's something about the way that they dress that may seem a little bit unusual. So, for instance, I used to know a person who had Aquarius rising, had one green eye and one blue. Like, you can expect people who have Aquarius, a lot of Aquarius, a lot of Rahu on the appearance, to have these kinds of characteristics that really stand out, that are very unusual. But even if they don't have, like, genetic or physical characteristics, you could find that they maybe wear things that are unusual, that are pertaining to a certain culture. Like, you'll find a person, again, a white person wearing dreadlocks, for instance, or wearing specific tattoos that represent something to a certain culture or religion, or they could, or even just the smaller things, like they would be wearing jewelry that pertains to a certain culture, or an amulet or something like that, or a certain religion. Those are things that you can expect to see when it comes to the general appearance. But also in general, since they are a very unorthodox sign, you will not tend to find these people caring too much about social expectations. So they are going to be unique in their appearance most of the times. Okay, so unless they're showing up for an interview or the corporate job, most likely they're going to dress in whatever they feel like dressing, for the sake of comfort, or, again, like I said, for the sake of their quirky sense of aesthetic, whatever that may be. Okay, and another thing that I can mention about Aquarius Descendant is that, like Cancer Ascendant, since Saturn is ruling the 7th house, it's co-ruling the 7th house here together with Rahu. It is recommended for you to marry late. So especially after the age of 28 to 30, because otherwise, if you marry early, it is said that there are very high chances of divorce. Okay, so yeah, I guess this is a placement that tends to show somewhat of a late marriage, let's say, or a person who's a little bit of a late bloomer in the romance department. But of course, you would have to look at other placements to see if there is a considerable delay in the romance department. Okay, so this is pretty much it. I hope you have enjoyed it, and once again, if you have, please like, subscribe, hit the notifications bell to see when I will post a new video. And also, if you're interested in a personal consultation, I do consultations on a wide variety of topics. Please check out the video description. I will leave my contact information there. Thank you.